In this video, we're going to show you how to install the rear lower control arm on your Ford Focus located in the rear suspension. Now we're going to use our 19mm socket to loosen and remove the lug nuts. Going to remove the wheel and set it aside. Now that we have the wheels off, I want to go ahead and remove our rear sway bar end links here. Now ours has been replaced. It's a 14mm nut here and a 14mm bolt. On the factory, it's 13mm. So if you have the original hardware, you want to go ahead and use the 13. Now that we have this removed, we're going to repeat for the other side. Now as we loosen and remove this here, it's going to allow the center pieces of the other link to come out. Now this is going to allow us to go ahead and grab the whole sway bar, pull it down. We're going to grab our hardware in the middle of these links. Now before we loosen and remove our rear outer control arm bolt here, we want to use our pull jack here. You can use your floor jack. We want to go ahead and just gently support the rear suspension. And the reason why we're doing this here is that the rear suspension has the coil spring pushing down on it. So we need to go ahead and gently preload this to keep the tension on this when we remove this. If not, and you remove this bolt, well, the spring is going to pop it down and could come out at you. So it's a safety practice. Go ahead and gently support that. We're going to remove this, and then we should be able to slowly lower down our jack and pull out our spring. We're using our 15mm socket. Now we're going to go ahead and lower our jack. Do that slowly, releasing that spring tension. Roll the jack off to the side. And we'll go ahead and get that spring loose and pull that up and out. Now I want to go ahead and loosen and remove this cam bolt right here. Now the cam itself, you want to pay attention to the position of the high point on this here, because when we reinstall, we want to make sure that that cam is pretty close to the original spec. That's going to give us a preliminary setting for the alignment. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a crayon here. I'm going to go ahead and try and mark the center of that high point, just a general. Mark that and the frame, so that way there when we reinstall, we can go ahead and line that up. Now on the back side, the bolt head is a 19mm. We have a box end wrench over here. This is a 17mm here. I want to go ahead and loosen and remove this. Get and work that cam off. And the cam is keyed, so it can go onto that bolt one way. We'll set that aside. Now in most cases, you can go ahead and get this bolt to come out the other side. In some cases, the bolt is going to be seized or rusted to the metal sleeve inside the control arm bushing. It's going to require you to go ahead and cut this bolt and simply replace that bolt with a replacement cam bolt setup. All right, now that we cut this out, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Now on our old control arm here, we have the bump stop. We want to go ahead and swap that over. Sometimes you can just lean on that and it'll pop out. We're going to spray it down with some spray solvent. Sometimes that allows that rubber to loosen up. And use our trim tool to get in here and try and pop that out. just like that. I want to go ahead and install this on the post right here. I'm going to spray down the rubber here with some spray solvent and then press that on. That's it. Let's line up our control arm, and we put some anti-seize compound on our replacement cam bolt here. Feed that through. Get our new cam on this side, and this is keyed as well. It's only going to fit one way. There it is. And get that nut started. We're just going to gently run this bolt down, making sure that the high point of our cam is at least close to the yellow crayon mark we had before. And that should be good enough. Now on our lower control arm here, when we install the spring, there's a little indent right here and it wraps up and around. That's for the pigtail of our coil spring. It's a specific fit. So you need to line this up, get the spring lined up here. And on the upper spring, there's also a bushing up here that has a pigtail end here. So we're gonna match that up to our spring. Then we're gonna put our pole jack underneath and lift this up. Now at this point here, you definitely wanna be careful. We need to pull our sway bar out, and we're going to slowly compress this up. And as this goes up, we're going to work it into the trailing arm here and get our bolt installed. There it goes. We're going to use our screwdriver to go ahead and work that into place. Get our bolt in. Now when you go to install this lower bolt here, fitting it in through the back, in some cases due to the angle of the control arm and the trailing arm itself, you might not be able to get that to line up. What we found here is using a pry bar up through the coil spring hole, and you're going to go ahead and give this a twist. You're going to rotate that control arm until that bushing lines up. Then you can normally just push that bolt in. If you want to, you can pry this, get that bolt lined up, and then start to thread it in. Now at this point here, what we really want to do is want to compress our suspension to what we call a neutral ride height. That means if you had the vehicle on the ground with the wheels on it and the suspension was completely compressed, then you could go ahead and tighten down all of your hardware. Right now we're at our neutral ride height, so we can go ahead and tighten everything down. Let's go ahead and line up our cam here, and want to make sure that the high point of our cam faces the yellow mark. All right, we are good right there. So we're going to hold that cam bolt, locking those cams in place, and then we're going to tighten down the nut. Now, of course, this here is a preliminary alignment. You do have to go down and get an alignment professionally done after performing a job like this here. Otherwise, you end up wearing out other components prematurely, and you don't want to keep on sinking money into something that you already repaired. Now on the back section here, we're going to go ahead and install our end link. I'm just going to catch the threads on that there. I'm going to now install the passenger side. Now when tightening these down here, the best practice is to go ahead and snug it down until the rubber bushing expands to the diameter of the washer itself. We're going to use our 14mm socket and do this. It's good there. It's going to go ahead and repeat for the other side. Let's torque down our cam bolt here, or cam nut, to 66 foot-pounds. There we go. Let's torque down our outboard control arm bolt to 85 foot-pounds. There it is. And we're going to install our grease fitting here, also known as a Zerk fitting. I'm going to use our 7mm to go ahead and snug this down. Just seat that a little bit. You don't want to over tighten it, you'll strip it out. Now we can go ahead and grease this. There we go. Just want to make sure we get some grease in there to keep that bolt from seizing up anymore. Gotta give it a wipe down. Now at this point here, you can go ahead and install your wheels. Don't forget, anytime you alter or replace a suspension component, you want to go ahead and bring it down and get an alignment professionally performed on that vehicle. Go ahead and take your wheel, line it up on the wheel studs, and we'll get the lug nut started. It's always best to start all the lug nuts by hand and then tighten them down. That way that we don't cross thread the lug nuts. Now when snugging these down, you want to do this in a crisscross pattern. Now let's get and torque down our lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds. We're going to do this in a crisscross pattern. And you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.